everybody, it's Maction from TabletRoms.com, and I am back with the third and final part of our review of the Visual Land Prestige 10. Now in this segment we're going to focus primarily on battery life, as well as my final thoughts on the tablet. Battery life. The battery life is very good on this tablet. It's pretty much one of those very few tablets that has battery life anywhere near what's advertised. I recently took an 8-hour road trip. I know, kind of generous to call 8 hours a road trip. And I took this tablet along. I was on it fairly well non-stop. It lasted the whole trip, as a matter of fact, and I still had about 30% left to go. So, it does a very good job. A fun little test that I like to do occasionally is to either take it along with me to a day at university, or simulate a day of university. So I like to start out with having a PDF open for around the neighborhood of 50 minutes, and then 10 minutes of just letting it rest. And then have some video streaming, maybe do some YouTube for about an hour. I consider this one of those pass-fail tests. And at the end of a simulated day of university, the Prestige 10 passes with flying colors, having more than 30% left over in its battery at the end of the simulated day. For some more scientific type studies, I did do several tests on the battery life to see just how it ran. For example, I tried one of the more strenuous tests, and that is streaming from Netflix. So I was streaming for Netflix for about 3 hours, actually a little bit more, and it only dropped the battery 40%. That comes out to about 13% per hour. But, to sweeten the pot, I was outputting video as well. So that decreases the battery even more. So you should see slightly better than that as for streaming performance. From Netflix, you should be able to get around the neighborhood of 6 solid hours of streaming. So the next time you're feeling in the need for a Stargate SG-1 marathon, this should be able to take care of you. I did, of course, do a test to see how much standby dropped the battery, and that actually goes down about 0.75% per hour. So after a full 8 hours of leaving it on standby for the night, woke back up, and the battery had only dropped about 6%. Actually about 5%, but then a couple seconds after I turned it on, it dropped down to 6%. So we'll call it 6% on that one. But that comes out to about, 0.75% per hour. So theoretically, you could leave this tablet on standby for about 5.5 days. Final thoughts. Well, this tablet is a little bit different than the one that we saw at CES. For example, the speakers were on the front then, but having the speaker on the back is no deal breaker for me. You still get plenty of good sound out of it. The tablet handles games really well, handles them smoothly. Nowadays, one of the things that I use my tablets the most for is for watching video, and this does a wonderful job of streaming video. One other thing that's very nice about the Prestige 10, of course, is that it has a Bluetooth module in it. So if we go back to the hardware that we were discussing in the first segment of this video review, it has 2 micro USB ports, and of course one can be used for, say, a flash drive. The other can be used for plugging into a keyboard, or, say, have a keyboard and a mouse. And then, of course, you can be outputting HDMI, and go ahead and throw in something like speakers connected through Bluetooth. Well, you practically have a computer set up right there. One of the things that was really unfortunate about the Prestige 7 is that it didn't have Bluetooth. Now, that's not something that all tablets have, but it would have been really nice to add. And Visual Land listened and put Bluetooth in their new Prestige 10. On the subject of pricing, Amazon is currently showing the tablet for around the neighborhood of $200. The Prestige 10 could be on sale for as little as $179. If they are capable of selling it on sale for less than $200, then their Prestige 10 might wind up being the 10-inch tablet to beat, especially at that price point of $199, with the possibility of catching it on sale for $179. So keep your eyes open, but even at, say, $215, it is well worth every penny. Things show up very well on it. The brightness of the display is good. The viewing angles are great. It's just about as good viewing angles as the Prestige 7. And I think most of all the hardware works together really well. It's got good RAM, it's got good processor. And perhaps one of my favorite things about the Visual Land company itself is that they're very willing to work with any tablet developers. When the customers want something that Visual Land can't themselves offer, they work with the tablet development community to make it happen. And this is something that you rarely see, and that is something that we all appreciate. So Visual Land, thank you so much for a pleasure of a tablet to work with. It's enjoyable. I'd encourage anyone to go ahead and pick one of these up because, thanks to Visual Land's very open stance, there will be plenty of ROMs and plenty specialized work that'll be done and available for this tablet. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope that when you guys get a Prestige 10, you will enjoy it just as much as I have.